Well, I called it, and it just happened. Donald Trump has asked the Supreme Court to intervene with an emergency injunction in order to stop a Court of Appeals ruling that would allow the Ways and Means Committee to receive Trump's tax returns. If you remember, just a few days ago, Court of Appeals in the District of Columbia had ruled that the request by the Ways and Means Committee was valid and that the IRS should release the tax returns from Trump to the Ways and Means Committee. And in that instance, what we had said was that the next step, if Trump wanted, was to present an application to the Supreme Court. And I said there is a 100% chance that he will. Sure enough, he did. The application hinges primarily on one element, and it's this one right here. In it, the applicants are saying that the case that's presented to the Supreme Court raises issues about the separation of powers, and it could have an impact in presidencies in the future. And therefore, they're asking the court to grant an administrative stay. We've talked about what that is until November 2. And that would prevent the Court of Appeals ruling from going into effect and would essentially block the ability of the Ways and Means Committee from receiving these forms. Now, the biggest problem is that if the court decides to hear this case, it will take quite a bit of time for them to decide it, which will take the issue past obviously the November 8th election and the installation of potentially a new Congress. An important element to remember before we start going nuts with the comments: this is not going to Clarence Thomas. The application was filed with Justice Roberts because he is the justice that oversees decisions in the circuit of the District of Columbia. We'll see if the Supreme Court even wants to hear this case, but I think that in this case, an administrative stay is not completely out of the question. We'll keep you posted.